Things are absolutely crazy in the world, but that doesn't mean there aren't new comic books being released. And your boy Pete is here to run down what I consider 5 of the very best releases hitting stores this week, which is the 4th of November 2020. But before we get into that, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to keep you up to date with all these comic book release videos and more. And do leave any comments down below of any comics you're reading at the moment that you're enjoying and maybe you'd like me to talk about in a future episode of the show. And as always, make sure you check out Collectors Assemble, who have stores here in the UK in Banbury in Oxfordshire and Leamington Spa in Warwickshire, as well as a Facebook page and a web store where you can buy all the comics we speak about today and more besides. But let's get on with what you're here for, and that is running down 5 of the best comics hitting stores this week. The big release this week is a hotly anticipated comic book from Image, and it is Crossover from a Housewife's favourite, Donny Cates. Everybody loves what Donny Cates writes, and Crossover is, like I say, hotly anticipated. Now, this is a great book from Image. Image like to try new things, don't do things that all the other publishers tend to be doing, and Crossover is a really interesting concept. Basically, think about all the big event crossovers you like in comic books, whether it be death metal at the moment or classics like Infinity War and Crisis on Infinite Earths. These crossovers span loads of books, and they're big, they're bombastic, and they're there to make comic book fans buy more comics than they normally would. And it works. We all do. We all fall for these big crossovers. But what this is it's a book from Image that Donny Cates has written that basically brings the idea of a crossover into our world. So imagine you're reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, then all of a sudden all these heroes and all this crazy stuff that's happening in that comic starts happening in the real world. Well, that's the premise of Crossover. Like I say, hotly anticipated. Loads and loads of people are very excited about this, and they should be. It looks to be a hot book. Loads of variant covers for issue 1. So check it out. I know a lot of you have got this on your order already, but if you haven't, if maybe you've heard about it, you're not sure when it's out, it is out this week. I'll be checking this one out for sure, and you should be too. From a new comic starting to one that is ending, and it's one that I absolutely love, probably my favourite comic that's been released over the past couple of years. It's Young Justice, which is coming to an end with issue 20. Now, Young Justice, if you don't know, is a team book featuring some of the younger characters from the DC universe. So you've got Robin, the Tim Drake version, you've got Impulse, you've got Superboy, the Connor Kent version, the best version of Superboy as well. Other characters like Wonder Girl, Ginny Hex, Teen Lantern, and more besides. And this has been a great book. It's from Wonder Comics, an imprint from DC that Brian Michael Bendis brought in to sort of showcase the younger characters in the DC universe. And Young Justice was brought back as part of this. I say brought back because it was an amazing book by Peter David and Todd Nauck back in the mid-90s. One of my favourite comic runs of all time. So as you can imagine, I was over the moon when Young Justice came back. But unfortunately, it is being cancelled. And issue 20 out this week is the last issue. Now, it seems that a lot of what Brian Michael Bendis is doing are coming to an end. A lot of the Wonder Comics comics are coming to an end. He's ending his run on Superman and Action Comics in the coming months, and we don't know what is going on to next. But it seems he's wiping the slate clean. He's keeping on Legion of Superheroes from the time being, but everything else he writes, he's kind of putting on the back burner. He's coming off those books. So I think he's got something big planned. A lot of rumours are that he's going to be going on to Green Lantern. A lot of fans want him to move on to Batman. We don't know what he's doing yet. But yeah, Young Justice is coming to an end this week, which is very sad news. But if maybe you missed the first 20 issues, hopefully they are all available in back issue in your local comic shop. But they're also available in collected trade paperback formats. So check it out. It's been an excellent run. Shame it didn't go on for longer, but issue 20 of Young Justice hitting stores this week. Another hotly anticipated book for all you Marvel fans, and more importantly Wolverine fans, is Wolverine Black, White and Blood. That's right, Black, White and Blood. This is as it sounds really. It's much like the Batman Black and White series, which was short stories featuring Batman done in black and white. This is the same concept. It's from Marvel this time. It's featuring Wolverine, and it's a load of short stories featuring everyone's favourite Canadian schnickety bub. That's Wolverine, of course, but not just in black and white. This is in black, white and red, hence the title Black, White and Blood. So yeah, lots of short stories. It's a 4-issue miniseries featuring Wolverine. Lots of different creators jumping on board. Some big creators as well. Adam Kubert's doing some art on one of the stories. So yeah, great stuff. I know a lot of you are Wolverine fans, and this is a great way to get to know the character. Maybe you've seen him in the films, you've seen him in the cartoons, and you've never really read Wolverine stories, and you don't know where to start. Well, this is perfect. It's lots of short stories. You don't need to know the back history of the character. You don't need to have read hundreds and hundreds of back issues to know what these stories are about. They're short, self-contained stories, loads of different creators, loads of different writers and artists in black, white and red colouring. So yeah, really cool stuff. I know a lot of you are anticipating this one, but it's out this week. As we know, if you're a DC fan, the Dark Multiverse is taking over. So yeah, dark versions of all the characters you know and love. And DC last year did some prestige format comics, which kind of focused on a tale that we knew and loved, such as the death of Superman, and made it dark and twisted, if the death of Superman wasn't dark enough. Well, these prestige format books are coming back, and this week is Batman Hush, which was a huge story back in the early 2000s, if I remember rightly, featuring Batman, featuring a new character called Hush. And a lot of the Bat family were involved in this. Well, this is a darker version of that story. So basically, the titular character Hush, he becomes a Batman-esque character in this story. And it's all following on from that. So yeah, if you like the Dark Multiverse, if you're a fan of death metal, if you're a fan of the Batman Who Laughs, that's kind of the concept behind this. It's really dark and twisted versions of the classic stories you know and love. There's a Flashpoint one on the way, which I'll be checking out. But all you Batman fans, the Hush Dark Multiverse Prestige format book is out this week. Another miniseries, this time from Marvel, is US Agent. Issue 1 is out this week of a 5-issue miniseries. Now, US Agent is what if Captain America was grimy and gritty. Basically, back in the 80s, 90s, can't remember, I'm old, you've got to give me a bit of credit on this. US Agent was brought in to be Captain America, and he was a bit more violent, he was a bit more grim, a bit more gritty. And he's had some ongoing series, some mini-series in the past. Well, he's got a 5-issue mini-series out this week by Christopher Priest, so you know it's going to be good. Basically, the US Agent is working covertly for the government. And the reason that this is coming out is US Agent is going to be featuring in the upcoming Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show. So Marvel do not miss a trick. They know that these TV shows and movies are going to be introducing characters that fans may not know. They're sort of lesser known characters like US Agent. But if you want to learn more before you see the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, this is a perfect way to do it. It's a 5-issue miniseries, so not a big commitment, but it gets you to know a character that's been kicking around for a couple of decades now, but that people don't necessarily know that much about. So check out US Agent issue 1 today. And that's it. That's what I consider 5 of the best books hitting stores this week, but there is plenty more besides what I've spoken about. I can't speak of everything, so that's why I've rounded it down to 5 issues. But if there's a book that you think I should have spoken about, you'd like me to speak about in a future episode of the show, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to give it a shout out, give you a shout out, and we'll look at it in a future episode. But yeah, that is it for this week. Remember, check out Collectors Assemble in their stores in the UK, as well as their online presence on Facebook and on their own web store. And I'll be back next week for another rundown of 5 of the best comic books hitting shops. But all that leaves me to say is enjoy your comics.